I'm Miss Delaney, and today we're going to be talking about a story map. A story map is made up of several parts which we're going to talk about, and then we're going to read a little book and identify those events and with how they match along the story map. So a story map starts out with the exposition. This is like the introduction or the beginning of the story. This is also where we meet all of our characters, and this is where we find out where the story is mostly going to take place, which is the setting of the story. After the introduction, or the exposition, we have the rising action, which is all of the events that lead up to the climax of the story. The climax of the story is the big turning point. The climax is often the highest and most intense part of the book. After the climax, we have the falling action, which is all of the events that lead to the resolution. And the resolution of our story is the final ending of the story or book, where everything wraps up and we find a solution to the problems that everybody is facing. Okay, today we will be reading Little Doctor and the Fearless Beast. There once lived a child the crocodiles called Little Doctor. The creatures came from all around to see her, and Little Doctor treated each one with care. As she worked, she admired their tough armor and large, powerful jaws. In exchange for her kindness, the crocodiles told Little Doctor tales. Each legend teemed with terrible danger, dizzying escapes, and acts of great mischief. Little Doctor marveled at the fearless beast they described. One day, such a legendary beast arrived. Little Doctor had heard whispers of her. Big Mean was the biggest in the land, with stony eyes and jaws large enough to devour Little Doctor in one fell swoop. But today, her mouth was clamped shut. Little Doctor examined Big Mean for bruises, scrapes, or broken bones, keeping a wary eye on those jaws. The crocodile's eyes followed her every move, making Little Doctor feel as though she were the one being examined. Big Mean seemed fine. Perhaps it was a fever? Little Doctor approached the beast with a thermometer to pop under her tongue. But Big Mean did not like that, not one bit. Little Doctor tried again. And again. As Little Doctor grew more determined to help, Big Mean grew meaner. Little Doctor retreated, feeling tired and cross. "Why are you here?" she muttered rather loudly. She returned to the other patients, her temper soothed by her work. As Big Mean watched Little Doctor's tenderness toward her fellow crocodiles, something inside her softened. She closed her eyes and drifted off into a daze. Little Doctor noticed the great beast resting, and an idea took hold. She found a volunteer, and they sprang into action. The plan was going well until... Snap! Little Doctor tumbled through the air. In that instant, Big Mean's eyes flashed. She finally opened her tremendous jaws, wide, wide as a river, and Little Doctor fell right in. Little Doctor shut her eyes tight, expecting to be munched or crunched. But moments passed, and she was not munched nor crunched. Instead, she heard a small chirp. She opened her eyes. And she understood. Little Doctor worked quickly to untangle the hatchlings. Her small hands were nimble where Big Mean's large jaws must have fumbled. Little Doctor and the others gathered around Big Mean. What tale would she share? Big Mean spoke. Her voice was strong and loud. This is an important story, a story of great daring and determination. Big Mean's eyes twinkled. It is the tale of the fearless beast, Little Doctor, who could not rest until she had her fellow creature, even a Big Mean one. The crocodiles whooped, and Little Doctor glowed. "I am a fearless beast," she whispered to herself. And together they danced until it was a new day. Alrighty, so now that we've finished reading the book, we're going to take those events that happened to the story and apply them to our story map that we have here. In the exposition or the introduction, we meet the characters and find out the setting of the story. In this book, we meet Little Doctor and the crocodiles. The setting takes place in the doctor's office. Now we lead into the rising action, which are the events that lead up to the climax. Picture all of the events that happened before the most intense part of the story while we were reading. The crocodiles tell stories in exchange for help from Little Doctor. We meet Big Mean, who is a ferocious beast. Big Mean grows meaner as Little Doctor tries to help, and she becomes frustrated, returning to help the other crocodiles and leaving Big Mean to rest. Finally, she has an idea that she wants to help Big Mean, so she hangs over her head by a rope. Think about what the most intense part of the story was. This is the climax. Little Doctor hangs above Big Mean by a rope, and suddenly the rope snaps. Little Doctor falls into her jaws, surrounded by black, where she thinks she will be munched and crunched. This is a moment of excitement and fear for readers and Little Doctor. This is the climax of the story. After the climax, we have the following action, which leads to our resolution. The following action events are Little Doctor finds the hatchlings in Big Mean's mouth. Little Doctor then untangles the hatchlings, helping Big Mean. This leads to our solution to the problem. This leads to our resolution, where the problems are solved for the characters. Big Mean tells the story of Little Doctor. Little Doctor is happy because she finally now believes that she herself is a fearless beast as well. And that's a wrap on our lesson on story maps and how to identify the parts of a story map when you're reading a story. Hopefully you can use this in the future while reading, and it can help you identify the exposition, rising action, climax, falling action, and resolution of your stories. Thank you guys for following along.